They do not keep bubbling. You know what that means. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we are going to flush the radiator because it's really bad. So we'll pop this off. Yeah, it's like nothing. I'm going to end up doing a flush on this, so I'm just doing water for now. And then we'll do a couple of flushes, and then we'll get coolant in there when everything's good. Alright, we've got the tub on there. Get some water in there. We'll add some more. And we'll start her up. Alright, we've got water in there, up to that line. Alright, let's start her up. Get the garage door open. And we'll bleed the system properly and burp it. Alright, let's turn the power on. I really need to do something about the Heltec. The warnings that came up when I went for a drive, it just flashed. I need it to stay like that for quite some time. Because when the first one came up, I was coming up to a roundabout, so I was looking out the window and I didn't see it. It wasn't until I looked at the video that I saw that it came up. And same with the other one. I was looking down the road and then I stalled. Because obviously new to manual in this car and trying to get used to the clutch. But anyways, enough excuses. I need to change that. Yeah, that's not good, that colour. Because I've only been putting filtered water in there. So I noticed when I had the radiator off that it was pretty crappy in there, so we will definitely do a flush. Just waiting for that big burp. I know there's a massive airlock in there. Oh yeah, I haven't got the heater on. Alright, I'm taking some out. There we go. That sounds like there's no exhaust leaks. That's what it sounds like. Alright, this water is not looking good. So we'll do some flushes. And I found some blue coolant there. Doesn't seem like we've got any leaks, so that's good. But yeah, we need to do a flush. Okay, so all the water on this side looks like it's coming from the overflow. Don't be able to see the hose down there. That's the overflow. That is full. So, and that doesn't seal properly. You can see that it's bent down. But yeah, let's drain the coolant once again. Now on this aluminium radiator, the little valve down there faces out to the side, and it should be facing out to the back. So it drains onto the radiator support. So I'm just going to pop off the bottom radiator hose down here. It's going to make it a lot easier. It's just 10 mil on that hose clamp. Pop that off, drain it into the big red tub. Alright, water coming out. Alright, I've been having issues with the radiator cap adapter. No, just the IAG one, it just doesn't fit the normal Subaru one very well. It might be the kit that I got, those yellow bits, and the location. And I've got the strut in the way too. But this setup seems like it's sealed really good. I'm gonna let this sit. It's pretty late to start the car up, so we'll come back tomorrow and finish the whole flush. So the reason why there is a lot of water on the ground, it is from the overflow. It wasn't sealing properly on here, and it was just coming straight down here and going out that little hole there, which is the overflow, and just soaked my garage floor. So that seems like it's sealed. We should be able to do it properly now. It's noisy. Okay. There's one little heat cycle. Let's see what I got up to. 95. So the fans were on. It's just starting to bubble. Came right up to the top. Now it sucked it all back down. Alright, so I just read the bottle for the flush. I'm going to let this cool down, drain it, add the whole bottle into the system with water, get it up to operating temperature, let it sit there for 10 minutes, let it cool down, do another water flush with a garden hose, and then refill it with the coolant and distilled water. So it's going to be a long night. Alright, so I've undone the clamp on the bottom radiator hose. I've cleaned out the bucket so it's clean, so you can see all the crud come up from the flush. One of these. Oop. That went in. That's great. So the seal's in the bottle, so make sure it doesn't come out and go into the cooling system. This isn't distilled, this is just tap water. And we do have a filter on the house water. I could have grabbed it from the kitchen, which is filtered again. But look at those bubbles. We're at 90 degrees now. There we go. $86. 85. It's cooling. Jeez, it's hot in here. Alright, 40 degrees intake. Sounds good. Alright. So, gonna let it cool down now. Gotta go to a bedtime story with the little one. Then we'll come out and drain it, flush it with the garden hose, and put the coolant in. Nice. Damn Subarus. Who'd own one? Not me. I've got 3 of them. Alright. Pretty sure it's been sitting in there for about an hour. Now all of the water and radiator flush had drained down, so I just filled it up with some more water just so I could see what was going on. And I don't know if you guys can see it. A lot of, yeah, look at that. Oh, the junk coming up. It's working. I wonder if that's how it's supposed to sound, or it's starting to go on me. I don't know. I don't know if I should get another turbo, get it slightly smaller, or should I go back to the compound setup and potentially go bigger with the smaller one, the GT30, and something bigger. Because I do have port and polished heads, stage 2 cams, So we're going to get a bit more airflow going. Restricted part is the exhaust. Definitely the exhaust manifold. I can't remember who I was watching, maybe Flatiron. So when you get up to like a GT35, the restriction is the exhaust manifold. So generally you go like an equal length or a bigger diameter tube. So I do have another one, but I would like to make one, maybe even like a steam pipe one, nice thick wall eventually. However, I would like to keep the up pipe at like a stock location. So if I want to go to an upgraded aftermarket up pipe or make my own, or even produce my own, it can be a bolt up to an existing manifold. So let's drain this coolant and do a flush. Hopefully the garden hose can reach. Alright, the garden hose just reaches. So that is fully stretched out. You can hear it still sort of dribbling. You can see down in here that this has got a bit of crud in it still, so hopefully pressure straight down will wash everything out there and get it out of the system. Alright, so while the car was still up on jack stands, I fixed the V-band that was halfway down. It's just the nut that was on it. So I changed that over. It's all nice and tight now. So we shouldn't have any exhaust leaks. Fingers crossed. Alright, let's get the coolant in. The whole system's empty and it can't even take 2 litres. There we go. That's the cover for it. You guys saw the cover, didn't you? It was right there on the strut tower. That's a leak. I think from around here. I can hear the air getting in. The air getting out, so it's not burping it properly. Maybe I poured it too quick. I probably should have slowed it down a bit. Alright, I haven't started the car yet, but that's all about 3 litres I had in there. Slowly burping. Such a long process. If I just start it up, it'll suck it down. There we go. I should put the lid on so it doesn't go everywhere. Alright, so we've got about a litre or so in the car now. It's still burping. I'm just going to start the car. It'll suck it down and we'll keep filling it up. And then we can get to temp and let it sit there and hopefully do a final burp. And then we'll sit at 85, 90 degrees Celsius. Right, got the heater on. Didn't want to start. I won't fill it up more than that because it will rise up before it burps. Whew. Pretty sure we just did it. Burped it. Sitting at 86, 87. Freaking hot in here with the heater on. Not bubbling. Alright, I've done it. You can see the coolant through there. Cool. 88. 40 degrees intake. It feels about 50 in here with the heater on. We've got a nice hot heater. Turn it off. I'll let it sit. Hopefully it sucks it down a little bit. Or I'll put the little stopper in there and then drain whatever's in there into the overflow. Or suck the water, the plain water. Oh, it's starting to go, I think. So that means we should be nearly good for a first little cruise around, do some data logging. We definitely need a tune. The tip-in is really bad. You can hear it backfiring through the intake. Yeah, we've got to get that sorted. Definitely a lot more responsive than the auto, so there's a bit of tuning to do there. I didn't think it would be that much, but clearly there's a big difference between an auto and a manual. When I drove it the other night, I could hear the difference in the engine too. It just sounded the old traditional Subaru, more boxer-like. I know, it's weird. If you have an auto, you probably know what I'm talking about. Just doesn't sound the same.